So, you're a snooker hall or a ball club that wants to go live? You're a budding YouTuber and want to know how to set up? Maybe you're just a player who wants to get better and want to see what could be improved with your own game. In this video, I'll be showing you how to set up your streaming and recording setup so that you can capture, on camera, your live play in any billiards setup. I'll be showing you how to place the cameras around your setup and how I use Open Broadcast Studio to go from shot to shot. I'll quickly show you how to light your setup and ensure that the audio comes through loud and clear and without echo. I'll be showing you how I use my Elgato Streamdeck to control the broadcast. And finally, I'll be showing you how I created my scoreboards in Photoshop and how you can use simple Microsoft Excel code to update your scorecards when you import them into your stream. Now, before you begin with your setup, there are a few different things you really ought to have in place. 1. A good streaming/gaming PC, with minimum specs of at least a 6-core processor, a relatively decent graphics card, and at least 16, preferably 32 gigabytes of memory. You will definitely be able to stream to an Apple Mac, but since I think those products are the devil's work, you'll have to find advice for that on a different video. My PC is totally overspec'd for this task, running a 12-core 16-thread AMD Ryzen 5950 processor with a 12GB graphics card and 128GB of DDR4 memory. I've also equipped the computer with extra USB connectivity as, we will find out later, it is important to have a fair few USB ports available to you for when you decide to go live. When it comes to choosing the camera for your live stream, there are wise and foolish options. Do not think you'll be able to stream from something you've brought for a £5 from AliExpress. The quality of the image will be awful, and you'll be watching a video like you've become Dennis Taylor without the glasses. Conversely, you don't need to spend a fortune on the latest tech. After all, we're currently in an economic crisis caused
not by the government but really because of worldwide events that are totally beyond the control of those who are in power.
Unless you are happy to edit everything together afterwards, you may think that you can use your home camcorder for the purpose. But to be honest with you, the bandwidth is awful, and it isn't designed to work collaboratively with the software available. Therefore, a moderately decent webcam is your go-to here. I started recording with my new Laxi webcam, which, when I upgraded from my £5 AliExpress beast at the start of lockdown, was like drinking clean water after supping from a horse trough. However, over longer distances it became clear that the colour grading was not up to standards, and the wide-angled lens caused an awful amount of fisheye on the screen. At the moment, I'm rocking with Logitech and the Kia Razr cameras I bought for, at March 2024, half price on Amazon. Admittedly, the Kia cameras are marginally better than the Logitech, but whereas on other cameras you have little control over the image, with these two manufacturers, OBS Studio allows you a massive degree of control over the output. In terms of the placement around the pool table, for the break end and the bulk end cameras, you will want the cameras to be at least 1 metre, at least 3.5 foot behind each end of the table. It is therefore advisable to buy a ceiling or wall mount for your webcams. For the over the table shot, I bought an extension arm for a microphone that is well above head banging range. Now, this is where the setup begins to get a bit dicey. If you are running the webcam to a distance from your PC of over 5 metres, the camera simply will not connect. The voltage drop on a signal will power the camera, but the signal will not be strong enough to connect to the computer. Therefore, you will need to get something that allows for the signal to run back to your lovingly put together gaming PC beast. Your best option is to buy a USB extender over Ethernet. This will allow you to place a USB hub close to your camera and use a Cat6 to Cat8 Ethernet cable back to its partner hub by your PC. One snag is that you shouldn't try to connect two HD webcams into the same hub. I've found that the hub itself cannot cope with the required bandwidth, and at least one of your cameras will cut out. Also, don't daisy chain the hubs back at the PC end, mainly for the same reasons. Once you've drilled your walls and ceilings, run your cables back, plugged everything in, and focused your cameras in exactly where you want them, you are ready to go to OBS Studio to start your broadcast. Very quickly, let's just take a look at lighting yourself for introducing your video. First, you should remember that the camera lens does not work like the human eye. Whereas millions of years of evolution has given human beings the gift of being able to focus on what we want to, cameras are not built that way. It is the reason that, unless there is an overactive smoke machine in situ, you can see the beams of light at a concert on the telly, but not if you're standing in the audience. The general rule of thumb is that you should add more light than you need to. Normal stage lighting techniques dictate that you should light the actor from the left and right at a 45-degree angle to the plane on which the actor is facing. Otherwise, the light will make the face look flattened and distorted. Therefore, I have endeavoured to place my lights in the same configuration. It is also advisable to make the light as warm as possible, else the results could be unexpectedly freezing.
Beep 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 beep. The Iceman cometh.
I have bought some cheap USB powered panels from Amazon, and one thing I found out is that you don't want to plug them into the USB hubs you already have placed around the room for the cameras. Find another power source. It took me an hour to reinitialize the cameras. I am a relative novice using OBS Studio, and for the purposes of this video I'm going to assume that we all know by now how to download and install something on our PC. There are a huge amount of videos about how to use this software on YouTube, as well as instructions on the website, so I'm going to quickly cover how you set up your cameras as scenes. In the Scenes pane, press the plus button. Enter the name of your scene. Go to the Sources tab, generally and hopefully to the left of the Scenes pane. Click on the plus button again. Select Video Capture Device. In the first instance, you will need to create a new capture device. What you have connected to the PC will be in the devices list. You may need to resize this window to fit the screen. Do this by grabbing the bounding box in red. If you need to crop the window, hold down the Alt key and do the same thing as you would when resizing. Once you're happy with the results, lock the screen in the Sources pane. If you right-click on the capture device, you can enter a transform mode, which will allow you, should you need to rotate the screen and get it in line with the edges of the video. Do this for each of your cameras. Bosh! Job done. Sorting the audio out on your stream is a matter of a little investment. You must note that all webcams come with their own integrated microphones, so if you're happy you can take the audio feed from there. However, I'm never happy unless it sounds really good. Billiards is a loud activity. So if you don't want to annoy the neighbours, it's probably best to try to find some way of soundproofing your room in the first place. The fact that I have a number of wonderful and not for sale Roy Lichtenstein pop art canvases up and around my living room definitely helps dampen any echo that might arise from speaking and playing in the room. All the same, I've installed behind my main microphone some soundproofing panels, and I've noticed that it makes a huge difference when doing a voiceover such as this. A small investment is required for moving around the room as well. My first cheap attempt at radio mics seemed to have some kind of loose cardioid receiver, and therefore created a thumping sound with every footstep. I've since upgraded these, and you can now instead hear the sounds of the floorboards creaking under my increasingly rotund bulk. My main microphone is on its own boom arm supported by supplied elastic bands. Make an investment here too. Try to buy one with phantom power supplied over an XLR cable via a decent sound card. It'll mean you won't end up sounding like Barry White or Alvin and the Chipmunks. When it comes to scoreboard design, there are again a number of different YouTube videos already out there describing different ways of doing it. However, my method will require access to and some knowledge of Adobe Photoshop. My first go at creating the scoreboards was janky. I'd done it in a rush and not really cared about the edges of the elements of the pictures I was creating. Therefore it looked somewhat amateurish by my standards. Therefore, being ever the perfectionist, I decided to recently give them an upgrade. So, here's my process. Initially, for the chosen format of game, I find an example of the professional game on YouTube and take a screen capture. When I fire up Photoshop, I start a new project with the dimensions of 1920 by 1280 pixels. This will ensure that what you create will fit the OBS screen perfectly when you're done. I paste the picture into Photoshop, then using the guides line up where the professional graphics are. Using consecutive layers, I add coloured blocks where I've set the guides to my liking and design. Yes, it's a bit of a rip-off, but I give it my own aesthetic, and I'm guaranteed to ensure that the graphics are definitely going to be in the right place when I'm finished. I export these as a PNG file, therefore the background will be transparent and I won't need to do any green screen jiggery pokery in OBS when I import them. I go to OBS and I import the graphic and fit it where I feel it works best. Now, using the sources pane, you can add where you feel the text needs to go. The reason that you need a pen and paper for this is so that you can ensure that everything you place on there is the right size. Look at the numbers above and below the text you are importing. Make a note of these and you should be able to place the text in the right place at the right size when you add in extra elements for the other player. Now, you can't break this software. If you make a mistake, just delete it and begin again. Experiment with your scoreboard layout and make it to your liking. When installing your Stream Deck, should you wish to, I'll let you follow the instructions supplied and figure out most of the software, such as creating icons and getting the damned thing to work in the first place. What I want to show you here is how you integrate shortcut keys with OBS Studio. OBS Studio allows you to farm out common actions to pre-assign shortcut keys. These shortcut keys can either help you navigate different cameras, bring up different pictures in your picture, or even activate different elements of your scoreboard. It allows me to navigate scenes and to automate the operation of the 9-ball scoreboard, 8-ball scoreboard and snooker scores. It is particularly useful with regards to balls being taken in 9-ball as they are potted. The good thing about these shortcut keys is that you can copy their assignments into the Stream Deck and use the Stream Deck as a mini television studio. At the moment I have 2 pages programmed. Page 1 allows me to scorecard 8-ball pool and activate the snooker scoreboard. Page 2 is entirely devoted to 9-ball pool. I'm going to show you how I create one shortcut. I'll let you play around to your heart's content to figure out the rest. In OBS, go to Settings, find Hotkeys. A hotkey can be used to move from scene to scene or activate a source within a scene. If you want it to just activate the scene, find Switch to Scene and set that hotkey. If you want the shortcut to activate a source within the scene, then you have to scroll down the list of sources available to you. Set this hotkey as something on the keyboard that you think will not interfere with other software that you will have active at the time. Normally some combination of Shift, Alt and a symbol will work. And remember that if you want the same action to activate in another scene, then you'll need to create this hotkey elsewhere as well. When you click on the input, press the combination of keys that you want to nominate for the action. If you nominate the same hotkey to activate and deactivate the source, then the hotkey will act as a toggle. In this instance, I am activating a prepared video for like, share, subscribe to my streams and my videos. Now, go to your Streamdeck app and find a new button that hasn't been used yet. In the right hand pane of Streamdeck, go to the hotkey section. Pull across that icon to the button that you wish to use. Copy the hotkey button presses into the input and add a description above. Choose or create an icon for your button press and presto, you're on your way to creating your own television studio. Now, here is my pièce de la résistance. How to update your scorecards in OBS without even touching the software whilst you are live streaming. There are a few scorecard apps and plugins already out there, along with guides on YouTube how to use them. It's just when I went to install them, Dr. McAfee gave me a stern warning and I decided not to put my gaming beast in harm's way. Now, in OBS Studio, the text that you insert into your scenes as sources can be taken directly from text files that are already on your PC. Also, you can rig Microsoft Excel to spit out text files with a little bit of Visual Basic for Applications coding knowledge. Therefore, I realised it was relatively easy to write your own plugin for OBS. And here's how I've done it. If you right-click the Sheet tab in any Excel spreadsheet, you'll be able to access the code that sits in the background of the tab. This can activate any procedure on any action that you choose. In this instance, we will be using the Sheet Change procedure. Let's create a variable that we can use. Bit like algebra. We need to define this variable, and the code for this is called dim. Therefore, the first line is to write dim x as variant, which effectively means it is any kind of variable. Let's define the first cell on the top row as a number for a scorecard. In code, this cell is referenced as cell open brackets 1, 1, close brackets. Therefore, let us call x the value of the first cell on the first row of the spreadsheet, or x equals cells, open brackets, 1, 1, close brackets. Now, let's create a new folder to where we are going to save the text files that OBS will read. Right-click on this folder and get its path. Copy this to your clipboard. Use this bit of code and change the path you see in front of you to the path that you have on your PC. make sure you include a backslash at the end of this. Now, go to your spreadsheet and change the value of the first cell. Click off the cell so that the sheet registers a change. Go to that folder you created and you'll see a text file has been generated and it contains what is in the first cell of the spreadsheet. Now, go to OBS Studio and click on the text element that you want to update on a regular basis from the spreadsheet. Go down the formatting box and find Read from File. Locate the text file that you've created and select it. Now, go back to Excel, change the cell value, and you will see that after a microsecond, the value in OBS automatically changes too. And now you have an automatically updating scorecard. As you can see, I've created a snooker scoreboard where you literally click on the ball and the values are added. With a bit of imagination, I've automated who is at the table. The pool scorecard literally operates frames and total match frames for the pool games. So, there you have it. That is how I've put together my streaming setup, and that is how I'm running things from the pool lounge. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.